Cool. Do you want to introduce?
Why not? Good afternoon, evening, or good night, depending on what part of the world you're in right now. My name is Ryan Ponto, and I'm here with Mark Henshaw. We are from TABrews. How you doing, Mark?
Good. Good. How are you doing, Ponto?
Good. You realize this is episode 10.
Episode 10.
We've done 10. This is the 10th episode. We've stuck through it, past the testing period of the first 2 or 3 we were planning on doing.
Yeah.
So I think it's due to some modeled success and just some outright fun on our part.
I'm still enjoying it, so
yeah,
might as well keep going. See what happens.
Why not? Well, I mean, who doesn't enjoy drinking drinking a beer on camera?
Can't really complain at that, can you?
No, you can't. A job you're required to drink at.
It's everybody's dream.
That's right. What have you got today, Mark?
So I have an interesting beer that I picked up whilst I was in Cambridge at a bar. Was recommended to me yesterday. It's not from Cambridge; it's from London, and it's Beavertown. I think it's a new beer. He said it was new anyway. I don't know how new exactly it is, but going on their website, there's no real details about it. But yeah, it's Beavertown Lemon Phantom, which is their lemon-infused Berliner Weiss. So yeah, I'm expecting something a little bit sour, that you would kind of get that sour candy element from a Berliner Weiss. But obviously it's a wheat-based beer. It's only 3.7%, so nice and sessionable. I should mention just a little bit about Beavertown. So Beavertown are London-based and is a brewery that was started only in the last few years, really, by Logan Plant, which I guess is Robert Plant's son from Led Zeppelin. It's an interesting little tie up there. They were based in Hackney, but they've since moved a couple of times further and further out, East London based, and they've upgraded to a bigger brew house in Tottenham Hale. But I think they started out as a brew pub in Hackney. So East London based. And it's a canned beer, and it's a really interesting can actually. It's got kind of this texture to it when you. Obviously won't come across on camera, but it's got this lovely texture to it. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's slightly rough in some parts of it. I guess it's to do with the print job that they've done. But it's smooth up here where the metal of the can is, but then when the print starts, you can feel the different crevices and stuff of the print, which is quite interesting. It adds a tactile element to the beer. The other thing is about cans. Cans are obviously becoming more and more popular with craft beers. They have numerous advantages over bottles. Obviously, bottles historically have that kind of image of being more sophisticated and slightly more high-end, if you like. But cans actually do have several advantages. The main one being light protection. So no light gets through a can, so your beer's not going to be struck by light and get that kind of horrible skunky flavor and aroma that happens when beer gets light struck. The other advantage,
which, interestingly enough, you remember Innocent Gun, how popular it is in Canada?
Yes.
Do you remember when they used to have the horrible clear bottles like Coronas and stuff like that did?
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Quite often you get a skunky batch just because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if they didn't store it right at the bar or whatever, if some natural light got there, incandescent light is okay, but if sunlight gets into that beer, then it's pretty screwed. I mean, brown bottles will block most light. Green bottles will block some light, but clear bottles, on the other hand, will block absolutely no light whatsoever. So there's no protection for that beer from that. So that's really bad. So obviously cans are actually the best for that because they let in no light whatsoever. They're also completely airtight, so there's no risk of oxidization or anything like that in the beer. And I guess on top of that, it's also things like the fact that they're lighter than bottles, so they're better for the environment to transport the beer in. They're not glass, so you can take them, I don't know, to the park or the beach or whatever, and whatever you want to do in wherever you want to take your beers for a little bit of fun. You can do that more easily with cans. So they have several advantages. I still prefer glass. There's something just a little bit more sophisticated about the glass element, but I definitely see why they're becoming more and more popular. But anyway, yeah, that's my beer. I've blabbed on about that enough as it is. What do you have, Ponto?
Well, just on to your whole spiel about cans and all that and light protection, whatever else.
Yeah.
Do you ever notice that when you drink from a can,
yeah,
God forbid you don't have a glass and you have to drink right from the can,
yeah,
do you get that metallic taste that people often describe?
Yeah, because your lips are touching and that's not what people think it is. It's not because the beer is coming in contact with metal inside the can and therefore it's infusing into the beer. That's not what's going on, because most cans are actually lined. They're lined, so you don't get that anymore. That used to happen years and years and years ago, but it's actually from putting your lips, and you get the aroma of it as you go for the beer. So yes, I have experienced that.
Yeah, I'm eagerly awaiting to fix that problem in the future.
Yeah,
I think it was you sent to me originally, that the draft top thing.
yes,
this little thing you take your can, you put it over top. It's like can opener, rounds the edge, and gives you basically a drinking glass out of your can.
Yeah, so, it's really cool, isn't it? It's like it's a Kickstarter program, right?
Yeah, it's already been funded. I mean, they did I think 250% of what their goal was.
Yeah,
it was just crazy, and so it seems to be like it's going to be taken off quite soon. And
cool.
I would love to do an A/B test once I receive one and just see how well that's going to do.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice one.
But anyway,
it sounds really interesting. Let us know how it turns out when it arrives, and maybe do a write up on it.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. But until that happens, I have a glass bottle. That's proud. And only blocks 85% of light.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So
this one is from Fuggles or Fuggles, however you want to pronounce it. I've heard people say it both ways. I'm pretty sure it's Fuggles, though. Fuggles and Warlock.
Yeah, it's Fuggles in the UK.
Brewery in Richmond here, which is very nearby. And this is the Beam Me Up Espresso Milk Stout. And you can see it's quite nerdy. It's got the Star Trek sort of thing with the Beam Me Up, aliens, whatever else you want to compare that to. And ship is actually a coffee pot.
Okay, nice.
Pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
It's a fairly new brewery from what I can gather. They this specific one has an award from 2014. And they have a very cool trailer sort of video as an intro to their brewery.
Yeah.
That they just made, I believe, back in September, possibly. And they're very nerdy sort of brewery, if you like. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with the whole beer craft snob nerd sort of crowd, I guess, in that regard. But it's just they're genuinely interesting to just watch their video and all that stuff. So quite excited. I've had this one before, and it's quite delicious. But their other ones are all plays on different games and other sorts of popular things, which is quite interesting to see in the store between all these very serious, very this is the beer that does this, and this has whiskey, and this has this, and this was like fuck it.
That video was really epic. It was like something out of Lord of the Rings, just like two nerds having fun, really.
Yeah, it really is.
It's I really liked it.
Yeah, that was very, some of these breweries are very serious about everything. They were just playful and let's have some fun with it. And I really like that in a company.
Did I gather, looking at their website very, very briefly, that they were like gypsy nomadic brewers for a little while? They didn't have a brewery, but now they're starting one up, I think, or they have done in Richmond now. So
it's in Richmond now. Yeah. I don't know exactly where they were before this, but they actually just opened that brewery in 2015. Same time they made the video for it.
Okay.
So they were a nomadic group of brewers, I guess, for a while there, and they're actually very similarly to a group in I think Chicago. There's this one brewery. It's a wife and a husband, and they both study yeast and biology, and they don't actually have a brewery of their own. But they make some of the best award-winning beers out of the U.S. there, and all they do is they focus on using different yeast strains on pre-purchased wort.
Oh, okay, interesting.
That's all they do. Yeah,
they just change the yeast.
They just change the yeast.
Yeah, it's amazing how much of a difference that makes, isn't it? Really, I mean, so much of that base character that you get from a particular brewery is that you can tell. You can tell. For example, I don't know. I always use this as an example just because I know some of their beers really well, obviously, but you can always tell like a Fuller's beer because their yeast strain is quite distinctive. You can always tell it's a Fuller's beer. As much as I'm not really a big fan of them, and I think part of the reason is that, and obviously they're quite big now as well, so they brew on a big scale. But Green King, you can tell a Green King beer, and they've taken over several beers over the years and closed the breweries that used to brew them, and then they brought the beer and started brewing it over in their brewery, obviously with their yeast strain, and because they've done it with their yeast strain, it just tastes like another Green King beer. It doesn't taste like one of their you could hardly call Green King a craft brewery these days anyway, but just as an example of how yeast can really totally set the scene for the entire character of the, and you either like the base character of the brewer or you don't. And a lot of that comes down to, I guess, the yeast strain that they use. I mean, because anyone can use the base ingredients of hops and malt and all this, that, and the other, but add your own signature on it to a certain degree. A lot of it's obviously technique, but a lot of that house character, I think, comes from the yeast. So, yeah. It
totally does, because, I mean, the different yeast will produce different compounds in different amounts. It's actually, researching for that little bit on yeast I'm doing, it's been quite fascinating, actually, that whole bit there. But,
it's that's fascinating. Yeah.
Anyway,
we drink some beer. Yeah.
we actually beer finally. Like, I think that's what we're here for.
Dear.
You want to go first this week?
Did you go forward? I can't remember who did what now. So yeah. Okay. Well, this is going. It's getting warm, so I'm going to open this up. Yeah. All right.
Lighter beer is not as good warm generally.
No. Yeah, you want a bit of a chill to this, so it's starting to lose that a bit now. So I should get in there whilst the going's good.
We should make it rule. Whoever has the lighter beer gets to go first.
It's not a bad way of ordering it, I guess.
Yeah.
Dear. Yours would be quite good at room temp.
Yeah, well, it pretty much is. I left it in the freezer for about 5 minutes before I took it out, and it's through all the talking we've done, it's about gotten back down to it. To room temp.
Nice. Yeah.
Go back up rather.
Should be about right then. Okay, so it's totally unfiltered, unpasteurized, this beer. So obviously with a Wise beer, you'd expect that anyway, but obviously it's brewed with wheat, which typically for clarity, you'd expect that haze with wheat anyway. But yeah, just taking a quick look at that, there's absolutely no head. I mean, that head disappeared almost immediately.
Yeah, that's impressive. It looks like a glass of maybe grapefruit juice or something now.
It totally looks like a glass of grapefruit juice, and it looks like that. It's not just the camera playing tricks on you. That is how it looks here.
Really? Wow.
To me, yeah. So it looks either like a something that I passed after a few night beers, the next morning after a few beers, or grapefruit juice. One of the two.
Oh my! The things we talk about.
Yeah. Right. So the aroma. Well, yeah, it's definitely lemon infused. It's lemon and citrus all over, really. Getting some slight grainy elements off of the wheat. Maybe some slight spiciness element there as well, but it is totally dominated by that lemon infused smell and flavour. So, all right, going for it. Cheers.
Cheers.
To your health, possibly not mine. Oh, yeah. Sweet and then immediately sour, like sour candy. Lemon sherbet almost. Like sweets.
Actually, it sounds quite delicious.
Yeah, it is really nice actually. It's obviously you expect that kind of slightly sour element to a Berliner Weiss generally. So in terms of accuracy to style, yeah, it's definitely there, but it's much more lemony than you would normally get from that style, because obviously it's actually been infused with real lemon, so you kind of expect that. But yeah, it's totally got that acidity that you get from drinking a glass of watered down. I mean, I do it quite frequently in the mornings, as I've mentioned before anyway. You just hot water or whatever, or room temperature water into real freshly squeezed lemon juice. It's totally got that that character to it as well, with the acidity and everything. But yeah, it's really quite pleasant. Not much in the way of bitterness, quite a clean finish. Yeah, very, very nice, very refreshing. Definitely
the carbonation like on it.
Very, very moderate.
Yeah, I figure with that little, or actually no head on it, it has to be. Yeah.
It has that slight fizz, which almost adds to that candy, that lemon sherbet element. You know, when you have a lemon sherbet and you get into the bit in the middle of the hard candy, then you get that slight fizz from it, and it's almost like a liquid, lemon sherbet in liquid form. It's really nice. Yeah, very, very. Not really appropriate for November. It's very summery. It'd be really, really good on a nice hot day in the garden or something, in the backyard. So yeah, lovely, really, really good. I would recommend it. I would recommend a lot of Beavertown's beers. Actually, they're really good. Generally, worth seeking out if you can get your hands on them. Possibly difficult over there at the moment because
I haven't seen any in the stores here.
Yeah, they're relatively small and relatively new. I mean, I guess let's take a look at their website. It does say when they actually started up. They started up in 2011, so they're pretty damn new. Anyway, yeah, really good. I'd recommend it. Cracking beer. Do you want to open yours?
Why not? Would you? I guess you go for it again, eh?
Yeah, I would.
Right
I think. Yeah, I'll wait till the winter's over, but yeah, I think I'll go for it again.
Now, on the other hand, mine is perfect for winter, being a stout and all.
Indeed. Looks promising.
It is. The heads actually was quite hard to get out of it. Might have something to do with the lactate they use in it. It is espresso and milk. And they did use a local coffee roaster, Salt Spring Coffee. It's right on the bottle there.
Okay.
Which is nice. So it's a completely local production, it seems like, this whole thing. It's quite nice. Yeah. Anyway.
Cheers.
Cheers. So it's not really, it's very dark. I can't really see anything in it, but it looks pretty clear from my end. Pretty much black, honestly, which is nice.
Nice.
Smell, you can definitely smell that the bitter coffeeness of the bean. And it actually has a hint of it's a bit like a plain Greek yogurt in a way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Some of that. Sounds good.
This basically tastes like breakfast to me. A good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Little hint of milk.
Yeah.
The carbonation is quite mild in it as well.
Well,
although probably a bit more than yours is.
You being sorry, carry on.
No, I was gonna say it really finishes off on sort of a creamy texture and just it's kind of tastes like there's that hint to it from lactate, obviously, but it's got sort of a almost chocolate ice cream sort of flavor. Not chocolate, sorry, like coffee chocolate ice cream. It's quite
good.
Nice.
Makes
really
sense,
great for winter beer, of course. Nice and it's not light. It's not as heavy as I expected though.
Sounds really nice.
Yeah, it actually is. It's got that nice bitterness at the end there. Yeah. What were we going to say earlier?
I was just going to say, you being a coffee lover, obviously stouts are pretty much perfect for you because, I mean, a lot of those roasted malts undergo a very similar process to what coffee beans go under. So, yeah, it makes sense that you would link it in that way.
Well, I think you'll find if you go back to the previous videos, most of my beer choices have been darker.
It's true, actually. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but you do seem to lean to the darker beers generally.
You know, as I said, from a very funny comedic character. What was the name? I think it was from SCTV many years ago. I think it was a show back in the 80s. I watched on reruns when I was a kid. Right. They said, "Come to the dark side. We have cookies."
Very good.
Anyway, yeah, that's good.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. Well, doesn't seem to have any questions from anybody today, but I think we made some really good beer choices, nonetheless.
Yeah, pleasant. If it was summertime, I totally wouldn't swap my beer for yours, but in the circumstance we're in the middle of November right now, I think I'd definitely swap my beer for yours if I could just pass it through the screen.
Just make sure it's on the glass. I very quite like this glass.
Yeah. Although I don't think you'd be willing to part with it from the sounds of it. So
the beer.
Yeah.
Well, I've probably got about 2 or 3 more bottles of it somewhere around here. I guess I've had it before. It's quite lovely every time. I haven't gotten any sort of variation in them actually.
Yeah,
which is it's quite nice to see.
Yeah, so consistent. Sounds good. Yeah,
I would recommend this to anybody who can get their hands on it, especially for this time of year.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I guess does that wrap us up for this week then?
I guess it does.
Oh.
Short, sweet, full of beer.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. Anybody watching? We're from TABrews. Visit our website, transatlanticbrews.com. And you can either get your Beer Geek Toolkit, or if you see one of our ads, grab the Holiday Gift Guide, which Mark so lovingly put together for any sort of craft beer lover. So if you're buying for anybody like that, feel free.
We're getting close to that holiday season now. So yeah, cheers.
Cheers.